is watching BTM Television. You're still with us here on The Daybreak, and my name is Bruce Mugabi. As I said, we'll be speaking about the anti-homosexuality bill that was passed by Parliament and is currently awaiting the President to assent to this bill. Now, we understand that Parliament unanimously passed the facing at least 20 years in jail. That is Parliament as man outside. The bill provides, that people having same-sex relations, that is, proposes a sentence in prison for an individual that is convicted of committing the offense of homosexuality, whereas attempt to perform the act would also attract at least 7 years in prison. Now, this bill does provide several offenses, several punishments for the people that are engaging in matters of same-sex relations. However, today on set, I'm joined by a lawyer, and he will be introducing himself just in a bit. Counsel.
Yes, I'm very excited to be here this morning. My name is Enoch Mpuga Tumwine. I work with the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity, a fraternity of, it's an association or a body of lawyers who are Christian professionals in different justice law and order sector. We have lawyers, student lawyers, we have judicial officers, and we have been in existence for the last 25 years. So I'm excited to be here and to discuss this topic. It gives me pleasure this morning that we can share about this serious, important topic.
Okay. Well, Counsel, we are time bad. Let's just dive into the discussion.
Yes.
First of all, as a Christian, since you hail from the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity,
True.
What do you make of this law that was passed by Parliament?
Well, for every Ugandan, it's just a good thing. It's just the right thing that Parliament did to pass that law, because homosexuality and anything associated, related or attached to the same is first of all a sin, a moral sin. It is something that is not right for society because it attacks the very fiber of society, which is family, which is continuity, because same-sex marriages cannot guarantee continuity of humanity. As such, whoever engages in such an act, just even thinking or even proposing to be in such, you need to be punished by our laws. And Parliament, being the custodian or the principal organ of government that is mandated to pass laws, I think that what they did was such a honorable thing.
Well, when you look at the manner in which the bill was passed, the effort that Parliament did, push onto the passing of this bill,
yes,
the efforts of the Speaker of Parliament,
True.
The way members of Parliament did flock, the August House on the passing of this bill, the way they debated this bill, because I was really following the proceedings.
Yes.
Is this matter that big? Is this matter that contentious that it attracts all these gas coming in from Parliament, that came in from Parliament and the public?
Yes, it is actually more than what we see, because look at who are the perpetrators of this agenda. Who are the people behind it? These are big people. These are big economies, and as Africans, as Ugandans, it was just proper that such attention is given to such a vice. You see, Parliament is a representative, or is a congregation of representatives of society. So Ugandans can only speak through Parliament. So the attention, the effort that we saw when Parliament was passing the law was just enough, was just important, because this is a moral fiber. As a believer and a Bible scholar, even Sodom and Gomorrah were punished and perished for that. So I want to say and think that indeed the attention the Parliament gave this matter was deserving.
Okay. Well, Council, this is one of the points that is also very contentious.
Yeah.
Me looking at it, feels so contentious for me. This is a relation that is taking place between two people.
Yeah.
In their bedroom, and without the public, looking at what they are doing. Why should this be deserving legislation? Why should Parliament be looking into matters of people's relations and bedroom issues?
Well, for me, this is it. Parliament, like we've said, legislates, but you see, homosexuality is more than the act. It goes beyond the act. There is promotion, there is aiding and abetting, there is all this kind of mindset change where people are told it's okay, then they start coming out in the public. Before you know it, they are in schools recruiting young people. Before you know it, they are moving. They want equal rights. Before you know it, they want to celebrate marriages in our society and in our churches. Now, all that calls for immediate action. And who is to act? It is Parliament. Therefore, you cannot say that it is a bedroom matter when matters are discussed on the street. Matters are discussed in our churches. So we have seen some countries legalizing same-sex marriages, where people have to be in churches and, some religious leaders are celebrating such marriages. But this has not even been a new concept in our laws. Look at our penal code. It had already, criminalized same-sex marriages. Now, I want to think and I want to say that this is not only a bedroom matter, it is a public issue. It speaks to the moral fiber of our society. It speaks to family as a concept, because it changes the very way we know family. Because they will argue and say that they can adopt children, they can do all that. Adoption has been there, but we are saying, what is it that you are portraying to the public? So I think Parliament did the most wise thing.
Well, now, just like you're saying, you're talking about morals, you're talking about this being a public issue. Now, this brings me to the next question, whether this bill that was passed by Parliament was passed on the basis of need for this law, because you mentioned in there the Penal Code Act, which already provided for a punishment for, that is under section 129 of the Penal Code, providing for punishment for these same-sex marriages and things like that. Now, does this passing this legislation show that there was a need for legislating? Isn't this corrupting the laws that Uganda already has?
Now, when you look at the bill in its entirety, looking at the wider scope it is coming up with, there are some things the Penal Code had not addressed. For example, in the Penal Code, they are addressing the act of performing a sexual act with a person of the same sex. However, now in the bill, they have widened. They look at people that operate or run premises where such acts are happening, like people running prostitution brothels or places. Now, the bill widens even just promotion of the same in schools, media houses, which were not addressed in the Penal Code. If a media house is running a promotion or an advert or anything, it is addressed. If a school, say for example, if a teacher is just recruiting, but all these in the first law or even in our Penal Code, they had not been addressed. So it is not a replica of laws. It's not that we are corrupting the existing laws, but they are widening the scope to ensure that whoever is connected, affiliated, there are people who just fund such activities, but now they will be captured by this bill.
Well, Council, you mentioned in the media houses, and we happen to be a media house as Medium Television, and we are so skeptical about violating this law in case it is sent to by the president. Now, how do media houses get affected in there? Because our viewer would like to understand the aspect of a media house having the men's rear and the actors' levels in there. We would like you to break down for us these two things, because a media house would be punished if at all it has all those two components in spreading homophobic information and things in there. Break down for us that aspect.
Yeah, you see, a media house reaches a wider spectrum of people, and whoever wants to advance any agenda, the first place to look to or to look at would be media houses. Now, what information, what are the policies? Some media houses need to revise the policies of what they are doing. What is the view? What content are you producing to the public? Is it affecting the young minds? Is it affecting the public? Are you advancing an agenda of homophobic content? Now, if a media house is found, and based on, of course, a media house being a corporate entity, it's the people that operate or run programs that will be focused on what content are you putting out there. Now, once your actions, your content is tantamounting to what falls within the scope of the bill or the law, then the media house will be punished. It can be, the license can be revoked. Suspensions of such programs can happen. The people running such programs can as well be apprehended and arrested and even prosecuted, because here we are looking at promotion, dissemination, and all that has been captured in the bill and they have been criminalized.
Council, Uganda has very many laws that do stop goods coming in from Uganda. Goods are checked at the airport, checked at the borders of the country, and in there we saw members of parliament putting at the forefront a matter of literature in schools that is promoting homosexuality and things like that. Wouldn't this be a matter that can be stopped from entering Uganda, and not a matter that needs a legislation which is of course takes the taxpayers' money and more in things in there? Shouldn't this be a matter that should be stopped from entering Uganda? That material being blocked, teachers being streamlined instead of going to take a step further of legislating.
Yeah, but the advancement of technology and the manner in which, you see, when you look at Article 28, Clause 12 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, it says very clearly, it brings up what we call the principle of legality. You cannot arrest or prosecute or even charge anybody of any crime or offense unless the same is prescribed by law and punishment for the same is prescribed or even ascertained in the law. Now, bringing content in the country when there is no legislation, how are you going to arrest the person bringing such content that is, promoting the homophobic or the homosexuality agenda? Now, all that had to come up with a clear law. The people that were being promoters of this had not been captured in the law, and they would walk out, free because you have nothing to charge them under. But coming up with a legislation, you are emphasizing the principle of legality, that there is a law in place, and therefore whoever makes such an act is therefore able to be charged. But in the previous or before that, some people would walk away with such, people operating a place where homosexuality takes place, and then nobody is charging them. People in schools, the teachers, they teach content and start addressing a man as a she, and now all that, if it's not captured in the law, you can't charge them. But when you come up with a law, it is assented, it becomes a law of the land, then you have where to charge these people. That's why it was important that we have this bill passed by Parliament to criminalize these acts. But if you have activities going on, you know, importing goods in the country and also looking at the way material or content moves, we have phones that do not need, somebody here in Uganda can easily communicate to another in the UK in the morning. Now, all that content comes digitally, and if you cannot effectively monitor, but if you have a law in place, then somebody will be arrested under that law.
First of all, Council, I'd like to take you back at the start of this discussion. Why shouldn't homosexuality be allowed in Uganda? What makes homosexuality an illegality?
For anything to be illegal, there are two things. There is what we call a moral wrong, and there is also what we call a legal wrong. A moral wrong goes to the fabric of the society. What is the society's perspective? If, for example, say that people in any community regards addressing a man as a she a crime, something wrong in the eyes of that society. For example, I'll give you a simple example. Putting on a cape is something normal, something good. It is something allowed, you know, morally, socially. But I want to think that it will be immoral or morally wrong for you to put on a cape in church on a Sunday, or even
Even while eating.
Or while eating. It becomes a moral wrong, therefore. And society has understood that in that perspective. Now, engaging in a sexual act with a person of the same sex, here we are talking a man with a man, a woman with a woman, it goes against the order of nature. Of course, there are some other sexual offenses against nature, like bestiality, where people engage in acts with animals and all that, dogs, name it. All those are criminal in nature. But here we are focusing on a same-sex arrangement, man, man, woman, woman. Now, what is the agenda of such a couple or such a relationship? Is there procreation? Looking back to the biblical perspective, where God gives man the right to procreate and with a woman. So this goes to the moral fabric. It goes to the societal agenda. What is the society? What is the society's perspective? Now, Uganda's context, I want to say that 99% of Ugandans, the society views, believes, understands what they call their normal values. A man should get married to a woman, and a woman should be a female. And gender is determined at birth. You cannot wake up in the morning having born a man and then you decide to become a woman. This is not biologically right, and that is what society, and that's what I call a moral wrong. I'm trying to widen morality as what are the cultural institutions? What did we grow up seeing? What did we grow up understanding? So all this is what forms our societal belief. And when you look at the agenda, they try to break societal beliefs, traditional understanding, by making things seem normal, teaching young children that it is okay to address, to develop, feelings for a fellow man. It grows slowly. Before you know it, society will have left the course. Now, what is a legal wrong? A legal wrong is something prescribed by law to be inappropriate, to be improper, and it will attract a sanction. For example, I'll give you, voting is okay. And everyone has a right to exercise in the voting. But then, even if I voted 1,000,000 times, it would still be okay. Nothing wrong morally around it. But the law says you can only vote once. Therefore, it becomes a legal wrong for you to vote twice. Now, the concept here I'm trying to derive at is that if anything is legalized, anything has been determined by the laws of the land that it is wrong, then it is a legal wrong. So homosexuality, performance of a same-sex act, is legally wrong. And when I combine the two, legal wrong and moral wrong, it justifies why homosexuality should not find its space in our communities.
Well, Council, Now, this is also another thing that relates to what you just explained, legalities and things in there. Uganda happens to be a country that is not an island. It's not enclosed that Ugandans are only living alone. That means we need the outside world. We need to live together in this world. Now, how does this legally affect Uganda's international relations? How does this affect the conventions that Uganda is signatory to, and with other countries that are legalizing, that are accepting the same-sex relations?
Yeah, Uganda indeed is not an island. Globalization has taught us that you have to live in a community of countries, and Uganda has done that very well by ratifying very many international legislations back home. However, that does not take away the sovereignty of a state. A state in a community of states, each state retains its sovereignty. And as such, Uganda will continue to relate with other countries. But in that relationship, some countries that hold a view that if you are not pro-homosexuality, then they cannot work with you. There are other states or there are other countries that are not, pro-homosexuality, or that are also standing solid on their values. So I want to think and I want to believe that indeed Uganda will continue to exist as a state in the community of states, but they are just retaining their sovereignty. It doesn't therefore mean that they cannot work with other countries. You can work on trade matters, you can work on other matters, but it doesn't mean that if we are working as equals, then you should determine what happens back home in my house.
How about the sanctions that are promisingly or seemingly going to be imposed on Ugandans? The president may be ministers in Uganda, even us nationals, because this law does not only affect government officials or the people that pass the law, but then it affects us individuals in the country. How about these sanctions and things like that?
My only concern is that those who are pro-homosexuality or homosexuals,
the homophobics,
the people that advance this agenda, they view what is only right for them. They want the agenda. Okay, you are only right for as long as you support what they are saying. Now, for me, that is very wrong. Even the other people, you should be able to live in a community where you have divergent views. Now, in the specific answer to what you have said, the sanctions, I want to think that these sanctions can happen, they will happen, but when they do, it doesn't take away the fact that, your values, you should stand for who you are, your character. Who are you anyway? As a state, when anybody says that I am denying you this so that you do what I want, and you buy into that, it means that you have exchanged your values for whatever promises they are giving you. Uganda as a state is capable of surviving. That's one thing I can tell you. I have seen that we have a lot of arable land here, but leave alone the arable land, we have other things we can trade in. We are not, for example, a state that has nothing in exchange. Even such sanctions, they will come, but when they do, we shall survive as a country. That's what I can say.
Well, Council, why doesn't Uganda look at this activity, or maybe this norm, or maybe the behavior of homosexuality in the angle that we did import, we did attract or accept some of the things that came in from Europe, where this habit is coming in from. For example, the clothes that we are putting on currently, came in from Europe. Earlier on, we used to put on skins, back cloth and everything. That is our culture, and we did import in the European culture. This time round, same thing happens. Why should Uganda be hesitant? Why do you accept some cultures coming in from Europe and then segregate the others?
No, Bruce, this is the idea. This is the logic. When you move out on a daily basis, you meet people who are different, both in understanding and in character. It is therefore incumbent on you to only pick which is positive. This is what we are saying as a country. And in this law, this is what we are saying. That you can exist with your homosexuality, but do not come and determine and force it onto us. We shall only pick what is right. What is not right, we shall leave it. So as a country, you should have the capacity and ability to sieve through what you are taking in. Even when you sit in a class, for example, those of us who study, masters and all that thing, you do not perceive whatever the people or whoever is before you teaching is giving you. Because some of them, they have wrong perspective or understandings on certain concepts. So I want to think that the West, to be straight and to be clear, the Western world is getting this wrong. Homosexuality does not guarantee continuity of humanity. Whoever thinks that the population of the world is so high that they should think of, limiting the number of people on this planet Earth, they are wrong. Because here in Africa and in other parts of the world, humanity shall continue to exist. Look where society has come from. We used to be like animals. We have advanced. Today we have a television set like this. We have, clothes and everything. Advancement of society. How then can you guarantee continuity of humanity when you are denying people the opportunity to procreate?
Council, just hold it in there. You're saying procreation.
Yes.
This is denying people the opportunity to procreate.
Yes.
Why isn't the law punishing people that don't want to have children, people that are going for stopping them from giving birth, people that are taking
contraceptives?
Why isn't the law punishing those people and would like to punish these ones just because it does cut off the chance to procreate?
It's not only the procreation idea. Look, the whole matter revolves around what is right in the eyes of society and what is wrong in the eyes of society. I have said socially, morally, and culturally, it is wrong for any man to develop feelings for a fellow man. Okay. Number two, or a woman for that matter. When people talk about homosexuality, the mass agenda goes to man, but even women. Now, contraceptives are in our society, but they also have their, downside. They have their issues. But then they are not, in essence, taking away the whole concept of procreation. They are regulating that. Okay, if you can take this program or the pills or anything, and then you have a certain number of children that you can afford through a proper family planning agenda. But homosexuality does not even give that room. But also that, as the act, biblically, even the Muslims themselves, they cannot guarantee procreation. They cannot guarantee that. So it goes against the agenda of the world. And society cannot be divorced from their beliefs. Okay. You can't do that. So that's why it is not right.
Well, Council, let's now dive into the punishments. Some of these punishments, we've seen 10 years, we've seen life imprisonment. Yeah. For example, aggravated homosexuality. I have not gotten the context of aggravated homosexuality. I know aggravated, murder, defilement. Let's look into this aspect of aggravated homosexuality and the punishments. Because, for example, aggravated homosexuality attracts a punishment of death, and others attract a punishment of 10 years. If you identify yourself as a homosexual, you get punishment of 10 years. Are these punishments realistic?
I want to think that they are more realistic. I want to tell you that the only way you can avert any act from society is by prescribing a serious punishment, because then what would be the essence of the law? the law must have a punitive approach or a punitive aspect in it to deter as many people as possible to engage into the act. Otherwise, if you have very lazy or even, lousy punishments, people will continue committing the act. So I want to think, and this is what I'm saying, it is very right, 20 years, life imprisonment, death, should all come, because if we don't, then nature itself is going to kill us. Yeah.
Just a quick question, Council to what we are doing here is we are discussing the bill, the anti-homosexuality bill, and people are watching. Children are watching, and isn't this a form of promotion of homosexuality? Can it be seen as a form of, because the way members of parliament did hype this bill, the way they pushed for it, it is a good thing, because as BTM Television, we do not associate ourselves with those acts, but for the benefit of Ugandans and the people that we do serve. Looking at this, doesn't this make it promotion?
This is what it is doing. Can the public know what is wrong and what is right? If the public knows that X, Y, and Z is wrong, if a law comes out in the public arena, it's important that the people know what the law is. It is important they know the sanctions coming against them. Even those that are enforcing the law should be able to stand bold, stand solid, and know what to put where and how. Now, this is the point. What we are doing right now on this set is to inform the public that the law is in place. This is not right, and this is not good. So we are only telling people the wrong of homosexuality. We are not in any way pro or, but we are trying to inform the public.
So discussions about the whole homosexuality topic and, creating awareness against it in schools would not be termed as promotion. You are against the act. So that is not promotion in any way. Council, that is not promotion. We are putting awareness to the public about the bill that is yet to be assented to by the president. That is, we can wait to see what the president will be doing, because he did mention that he has not yet received the bill, but he will be receiving it, and also making consultations about it. If this bill is signed into law, do we see it regulating, stopping homosexuality in Uganda?
For anything that has been prescribed as a crime, and enforcement is done, then such acts reduce from society. However, the only aspect or the only issue now goes on to the enforcement. Sometimes the passing of the law, we have even seen other laws being passed and they are shelved. But after a law has been passed, then enforceability goes to police, goes to all these security agencies and police and its sister agencies, to ensure that indeed the law is enforced. So that's where the catch is, that's where the issue is, that enforceability of this law is what will make the difference.
Well, Council, then this puts me to the next question, which is, does Uganda have the ability to enforce? Do the people that enforce law, which is maybe the police in this case, do we see them having the stability, ability to enforce?
You see,
Council, why I'm asking this is, remember, the police does not, be present when people are performing these acts in their bedroom. So this is where I'm puzzled, and our viewers are puzzled about this point.
No, look at what we are doing right now. We are making the public aware. If therefore one morning, whoever has been watching this program or any other person wakes up in the morning and they identify such a person involved in such an act, they know where to report. They know that this is a wrong. And I want to say that police may not be in every corner of this country, but there is somebody there. Remember, this act is happening on a human being. Now, once this human being, society is empowered to know what is wrong and what is right, then they themselves will resist these acts. they will report them to police, they will arrest people perpetrating these, and then it will become so hard for any homosexual to live in any community or in any area, because the public will know that they are promoting a wrong agenda.
You just mentioned that this will be making it hard for a homosexual, or maybe a person who identifies themselves as a homosexual to live in the societies, in public. Doesn't this infringe on their rights personally? Because, looking at a person has, their own rights. They are above the age of 18 and they have their rights. The Constitution provides for these rights. That's Chapter 4 of the Constitution of Uganda. Isn't this infringing on the rights?
Rights are rights, guaranteed by the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and even other international legislations. Nobody is saying that those rights in any way are going anywhere. But this is what we are saying. Enjoy your rights, allow other people to enjoy their rights. Some part of the community is telling you that they are not okay with it. They are not telling that you are not going to exist. No, please live your life. But do not then promote, do not then enforce others. Don't recruit our children who are innocent into these things. That's where we are.
Okay. Council, maybe as we do break down these things for the viewer, for our Luganda audience, tuli mukwogera ku nsonga za anti-homosexuality bill, oba ensonga, I don't know how to put it properly in Uganda, but tuli mukwogera ku ezo ensonga parliament twalabanga yise etteeka erigenda okukugira this anti-homosexuality mu Uganda. Era eno etteeka balitwala eri omukulembeze w'eggwanga President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni okubanga naye ateekako omukono gwe ate erifuuke etteeka eriri mu Uganda, baliteeke mu mateeka ga Uganda era ligaane oba lipanishinge abo abantu abakola abagenda mu bikolwa ebyo ebya homosexuality. Council,
yes.
Olowooza nti omukulembeze w'eggwanga, or do you think the president Yoweri Kaguta Museveni will assent to this law, will sign this bill into law?
Yeah, the laws are very clear. Once a bill is passed by parliament and sent to the president, he's given a number of days within which to assent to such a law. And if he has any questions, queries or issues with the law, he can send it back to parliament, and parliament can revise or revisit whatever concerns the president might have. But also, the law goes ahead to give parliament the right that in the event the president declines after a number of times to assent to a bill, parliament can as well pass that law and pass the law, and it will become law in the land. Okay. But this is what we are saying. We are all hopeful as a country that the president will assent to the law.
So last time, that was in 2014, this same law that was introduced and passed by parliament, this bill that was passed by parliament was nullified. It was challenged in the constitutional court.
True.
And that was on the basis of lack of quorum. This time round, the members of parliament did meet the quorum, did even go way beyond the quorum. That is why I'm saying they did push for this bill so much. What are the chances that this law survives if at all it is challenged in the constitutional court again?
What the constitutional court did back then was to look at the procedural issues that had been skipped by parliament while passing the law. But this time round, the parliament has been, careful enough to observe as much as possible the different nitty-gritties in terms of procedural matters while passing the law. However, I cannot rule out anyone can come upon any issue and go to the constitutional court. It is any person's right to challenge whatever they want to challenge, provided they have the legal backing in any court of law. But once that happens, parliament is still here, society is still here, we can still as well revisit whatever issues that can be raised and make them right.
When you say that, I would say, look at the time it has taken Uganda to revisit this law, about 6 years or even 7 years to revisit this law, and this of course creates a gap for promotion of this act in schools. We are seeing videos on phones where our children are being forced into practicing homosexuality. We can no longer be secure when we leave our children with housemaids, leave our children with house helps and things in there like that. Doesn't this create laxity in still bringing up a law that would be fighting the vice?
I want to agree with you that such gaps create loose ends, and I want to agree with you on that. However, in the event a court of law nullifies a certain legislation, a constitutional court, as a lawyer I know that at that point you have no law. But like we have said, that this is in two aspects, the moral fabric and the legal aspect. Where there is no law, what is the morality telling us? We as parents, what is the moral fiber that we are teaching our children?
But Ugandans that are practicing this event have already gone way beyond the moral fiber.
I want to think that our society is still solid. It is still solid on values. It is still solid on morals. It is just now the duty of every Ugandan, every parent, to instill right and proper values. Be very sensitive where your child is. Be very sensitive where your people are. So for as long as you know that I have a child, I have a person, monitor them. Please do not take things or matters for granted. This is a matter of our continuity, our survival.
Well, maybe Council, if something that just skipped my mind was on the matter of abbreviated, but we are time bound, and I would say maybe if you could give us your parting shots, from today's topic, and what you'd like to put across.
Well, thank you very much, Bruce and BTM, for such an opportunity to speak out to the viewers out there. The viewers who have been on this program, please know that you have a duty as a Ugandan, a civic duty to observe the laws of the land. That is number one. But also you have a moral duty. One, as a Ugandan. Uganda is known for hostility. Being a hostable country. It is known for being a peaceful country. It is known for a welcoming country. So please welcome whoever is available, but take caution. Who is that you are welcoming in your home? What practices are they coming with? What values are they bringing to our society? Please, whoever does not know their history, they cannot appreciate their present, and they cannot determine their future. It is just that you know where we are coming from as a society, know where we are and where we want to be. Please, Ugandans, as I leave, I want to remind you that you have a moral duty, but also Parliament has also given you a legal duty to observe the laws of the land. And it is therefore morally right to stay safe and sound, and it is entirely in your hands. Police may not be everywhere, but you are there.
Right. Very many things Council Tunsime, he did break down for us in there about the anti-homosexuality bill. Hopefully you did appreciate the points that were put across. You did appreciate his point of view as a lawyer or as a legal brain. And of course, BTM Television will be bringing to you all these matters that socially, economically and politically impact on you as an individual or on you as a Ugandan. And that is why we'll also be putting our leaders in Uganda here on the spot and picking how far they've gone on delivering on the promises that they do, put us Ugandans. My name is Bruce Mugabe, and this is The Daybreak. We'll also be airing each and every day from Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. For those who've just joined us, we start early on at 7, and that is, we start your day with the most important information that is for all the aspects, current affairs, entertainment. So do make it a date with me tomorrow, same time, same place. From the rest of the team, have yourselves a blessed day.